What's up, peoples? If you've been using the camera for a while now, you realize how hard it is to throw it 100 feet in the air while maintaining a stable shot. Sure, you can buy a mini airplane for $1,000 or more and have the smoothest 4K footage and clarity, but who's got the kind of cash to toss around for that? Can you get one for half price? Even better, stay tuned. So we're going to be unboxing the Mavic Mini, giving you some tips on how to improve its use and reviewing how it stacks up to the big boys. One of the more interesting things about the Mavic Mini is its size and weight. The reason they made it 249 grams is so that you don't have to register in the United States. For other countries, you probably have to just check their laws. I can't confirm anything, but confirm yours before going unregistered, don't get in trouble. However, please take note that if you put anything on this drone, even the decorative stickers, it will go above that weight, so just be aware that 259 grams is the bare drone. That's it. The size is another amazing aspect about this thing. I mean, it's so small it can fit in your pocket. I imagine you take the controller and put it in your other pocket, and then you just got these giant pockets and you're walking around looking like you just stole 2 grapefruit. Probably not what you're gonna be doing. But the size is great for traveling and incorporating it into your luggage or even a camera bag. You will notice, however, that the drone has a little bit of a plasticky feel. I mean, the shell, the gimbal, the propellers are all light and very breakable, so word of caution. Okay, so you're thinking about buying one. So as of right now on Amazon, the Mavic Mini is selling for about $400 for the base model, which comes with the drone, the battery, the controller, some replacement propellers, thumbsticks, and some screws. And then if you want to upgrade for $100, you get the Fly More combo. That gets you an extra 2 batteries, a charging pack where you can charge all 3 batteries at once, which is nice. And then a propeller guard and a nifty carrying case. Chances are you pack the drone, controller, and batteries mixed with your camera bag loose, but the bag itself that they give you with the Fly More combo is actually a nice touch. It gives you the ability to keep the drone accessible and separate when you need to mark it off on your gear checklist before leaving for a shoot, which is nice. That's what I do. Considering this drone is new to the market, it's not really experiencing any discounts or price drops. I imagine Black Friday or Christmas time 2020, there might be some discounts, but I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. So we're talking about the Mavic Mini base versus the Fly More combo. But let's compare how this Mavic Mini lines up to the other DJI lineup out there. Real quick, here's the side-by-side spec comparisons of each of the drones. Go ahead and pause the video if you need some more time to compare the differences. I find it's better to just show you guys the spec head-to-head in a grid rather than just rambling on about this versus that. Take a look at it and just absorb it. Cool, got it? Good. Now let's talk about specifically how the Mavic Mini stacks up. So right off the bat, you probably realize that the Mavic Mini is the only one not to provide 4K video at 30 frames per second. Along with that, it's only 40 megabytes per second rather than 100 megabytes per second with the Mavic Air. Well, those numbers just don't move me. The Mavic Mini still has amazingly sharp and high resolution photos and videos, not having a full 4K camera. I've seen the comparison videos between this, the Air, the Mavic 2, and with a little bit of color grading, they're not that different, almost identical. What's not identical, however, is the price. At an entry-level $400 next to the $920 Mavic Air, this is truly a consumer-level drone with some professional-level video. Personally, I render all my professional videos in 1080p, so I don't really need the 4K professionality. However, if you want to scale up from 2K to 4K, it still doesn't look too bad. Thanks to the over-sharpening the drone includes, it's still gonna have that detail that you need for the 4K. Other than the Air, the Mavics have about 25 to 30 minutes per battery. In my experience, that's just not enough to get the most out of every location. I recommend getting that Fly More combo, because it's still the most bang for your buck in terms of battery. If you're thinking about trying to get away with using one battery and recharging it on site, I think you might want to rethink that. While the battery lasts for 25 to 30 minutes, your recharge time might be 2 hours. Depending on your portable power supply, it could take longer. And side note, if you do plan to get extra batteries, it does make sense to get the Fly More combo rather than buying them separate. Each battery costs more than $50, so if you're spending $100 to get the 2 extra batteries and the charger and extra propeller guards, then it makes sense, Look it up, compare it, let me know what you think. And second side note, now that I mentioned those guards, you're gonna wanna get the protection plan on the drone immediately. Don't play games with this thing. It's small, light like a toy, and it's gonna break like a toy, especially the gimbal part. Let me tell you, if you drop this thing 10 to 15 feet, It's enough to break the thin plastic connection that the gimbal hangs from, and it's done after that. Remember when I mentioned throwing your camera in the air to get that shot? Consider this drone the same thing. If it drops, it's gonna break the same way. So honestly, I would recommend the Assurion plan on Amazon over the DJI plan. For 3 years, it's 58 bucks and it covers everything: physical damage, water damage, and repairs, replacement, no cost, no deductibles, parts, nothing. On the topic of safety, this drone has zero avoidance, zero obstacle avoidance, none. So if you're trying to fly it backwards around trees, I'd highly recommend flying this thing in a slower cinematic mode rather than the zippier sport mode that it has. Hitting anything with decent speed is a death sentence for this drone. So speaking on that, good time to segue. So there are 3 settings for this drone and how to fly it. Cinematic is slow and smooth, positioning is moderate speed with a little bit of jerkiness in the camera, and then of course the sports mode, which is the fastest speed but has that robotic camera movement. Another tip I can give you to avoiding crashes: if you need to get details and zoom up close, right? You want to get right there where the details are great. You're not going to want to zoom up on that object and try and stop. It might not work, you might hit something. However, if you want to start at that object with all the details in focus and then zoom out, then that'll work for you. All you do in there is just reverse the footage in post, and you have this nice, cool transition straight up to the object, rather than smacking into it. Another problem that this reverse method could fix would be the tilt up feature. Let me explain. If you're looking at a tall object and you're trying to shoot and aim up, you're gonna have to forget about that. This drone's gimbal does not lift above level. I mean, it will never look above its own elevation. This makes it impossible to film upwards, and when you lift the camera to look up to the horizon, it gives you another one of those robotic hard stops, which means it could look bad in your films if you're trying to include one of those shots. To alleviate that abrupt stop, consider starting at that elevation, easing into a tilt down. That way you can reverse it in post and you won't have that jerky hit, because it will stop hard at the horizon. Photographers like to shoot in RAW to get the best images that you can edit later. Unfortunately, this drone is not gonna have that. The Mavic Mini only shoots in JPEG. The photos, however, are still nice. They just don't expect to have that super editable RAW file afterwards. You're working with a JPEG. It's still good. One thing you'll notice is that the white balance and the exposure is always a little bit too high when shooting. And with no ND filter, you're gonna have to go into the settings to fix it. For photography, they have a setting where you can change the manual exposure, but in filming, you can't. There's another workaround for this. If you dial the EV exposure down to around 0.7 and you hit that lock button, you'll be okay and you'll get like a more punchier feel, and it won't have the varying exposure problems when you're hitting sunlight. Just make it part of your pre-flight checklist, you know. Always go into there and confirm that you have that locked in before you start filming. You'll be all right. The drone can handle about 28 kilometers per hour, but I'm not gonna assume you're the type to pull out a wind gauge and confirm wind speed at about 100 feet altitude above your head. Listen, the wind is strong enough to sway a tree or hold up a flag. You're not gonna fly this thing. You wanna be very cautious about flying in that wind. The range on this Wi-Fi driven drone is about 1,000 feet. However, it's really rule of thumb with line of sight. If you can't see it, might be an issue. Also, if you want to know the rule of thumb, think about it laggy with the transmission, pull it back, just bring it back, because it's not worth losing it and then it starts landing in a field somewhere where you can't find it. So last thing I'm gonna say to try and optimize your experience with this, especially if you play video games, is you're gonna wanna go into the DJI app settings and change the thumbsticks. So your left one should be your lateral movement of the drone and your right one should be your camera movement. And then the scroll that's on the back, you're gonna change that one to the elevation changer. That'll make it more of a natural feel. You'll be more in your own natural habitat, except like outside and not during double XP weekend, obviously, in your gaming dungeon with your blackout shades. It's where I live. All in all, $400 for a drone is a steal. If you don't have one or even as a backup, I'd recommend it. If you want to wait until it goes on sale, I hear you. I'll show you a trick on how to catch it and anything else on Amazon when it drops in price using this Google Chrome extension that I know of called Keepa. And if you want to see any other tips, hacks, reviews, please think about subscribing. I may bring up a hack that'll save you hella money on your next purchase and you're about to pay full price for it, and you never would have seen the video or known that this hack exists if the video didn't pop up in your feed. So go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell to make sure you get that notification, and make sure you get a chance to see it before you make that purchase. That's it for me. I hope this served as a decent overview of the Mavic Mini and helped you decide if it's right for you. Also, again, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, if it helped you, drop a like. I still have one question though, and I want to ask you guys. If you've used the drone before, what is your favorite camera shot to catch? And if you haven't, what do you want? I'm pretty interested to see how the answers line up in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Looking forward to hanging out with y'all again. Peace.